Hi friends, welcome again to Art as an Expression of Prayer. It's my privilege to be able to welcome Reverend Wanda Duckett to spend some time with us today. Reverend Duckett is an elder and a DS in the Baltimore Washington Conference. Her gifts of poetry and spoken word and prayer have been such a blessing to us in our conference. I'm so excited to learn from her, and I hope you are too.
My name is Wanda, Pastor Wanda Bynum Duckett. I'm one of the pastors and clergy people that serve in the Baltimore Washington Conference. And like you, in a summer month like July, I would be thinking about packing or be actually at one of our summer camps, volunteering and having fun and banana boating and climbing and hiking and doing those kinds of things. But alas, 2020 is here and I'm in a sunroom rather than being out in the sunshine. But glad to be with you this afternoon in this virtual kind of way. Can't see you, but hopefully you're able to see and hear me just fine. So today I just wanted to bring you a little bit of information and a challenge around poetry as prayer. A lot of my work and my life has been about poetry. I believe that everybody has an inner poet, an inner voice. God, is a creator, created everything by just speaking. And so my whole mindset is that by speaking, we create life and we create order and we create beauty. And so I really like spoken word poetry, where I'm able to let my prayers and my thoughts kind of just flow and see what God does with those. So I dressed for today, not only in a shirt that I might wear camping, but can you see my microphone? My mic sounds nice. Hopefully it looks nice. It says Do More. That's a poetry organization for youth here in Baltimore where I serve. If you want to know more about that, let me know. Let Miss Kirsten know, and she will pass that information on to me. But my goal today is to help you see the relationship between poetry and prayer and how that whole thing works. So for me, poetry was something that I would do kind of privately. It was like the way I journaled, the way I did like the old diary with the lock on it. I didn't share it with anybody. It was just me processing my stuff, right? So if I was hurt, if I was angry, if I was happy, I would just write about it. And when I started looking at it, things rhymed and had a little bounce and beat to it, not quite like rap. And when I became a preacher, it started coming out in my preaching, and some of the young people would just like snap afterward. I'm like, what is that? And then I discovered that, wow, I really am a poet. And so I started living into that and been doing some things with poetry. So I just would encourage you to do likewise. You don't have to be a famous poet or whatever, but whatever your thoughts are, whatever your feelings are, use poetry as a tool to talk to God, because that's all prayer really is, right? It's a conversation. God talks to us, we talk to God, and it just kind of works both ways. When we're angry, when we're upset, when we're joyful, when we're grieving the loss of a loved one, or even the loss of a graduation ceremony in a season like this, or the loss of health, we can take all of that to God. And one way to do that is through poetry. In the Bible, half of the Bible is poetry. The book of Psalms is all poetry and songs. And here comes my foster dog. This is Naya. She's not a poet. But yeah, try that. Try to think of perhaps a word. Think of an emotion. Think of how you're feeling about something. Think of something you have a question for God about, or something that you might be going through. It doesn't have to be traumatic. A special person in your life. And just focus on that thought, say for 1 or 2 minutes. Maybe set some music in the background to create a mood of quiet, and let your thoughts just roll off your fingers, typing it, putting it in your phone, or writing it out, and see what happens. And often what comes out of you, because you are naturally a child of God who was born out of God speaking you into existence, literally, you will find that you will have something in you that is coming out, and it is poetry and it is prayer. Give you an example. So for me, I was working on some academic work, some school work, even at my older age, and I was just like drowning because I'm a procrastinator, and I kept waiting, and the deadline was coming, and I felt like I was underwater. And ironically, it was a work I was doing about poetry, right? So I'm drowning in this whole thing, and I needed to get that out and get it off of me so that I could move forward. And so this is what came out. It was actually a poem as I processed those emotions and those thoughts. It's called Drowning in a Sea of Possibilities. Drowning in a sea of possibilities, more able than I think I am. I think I can, and therefore I am. I can so much that it's too much to take in, suffocating in the procrastinating because it's easier to do the little on the side and let it ride and hide in the sea of possibilities. Underwater, too deep to swim. On the margin, so shallow I skim, but I don't dive in. I will only think and never can. So suit up, finish up, do this so that that can also come true. Because it's all possibility until we make it do what it do, until you do what you can, and you know you can. You know you can. Yes, you can. Why don't you stop wallowing and start winning, start moving and stop spinning? No one heals on those wheels, but we all win when we begin, because it's not just me in the sea. My reality is your possibility, and what you've done, I've just begun. And her new book deserves my look, and my next page begins his new age of possibilities. So breathe. Yes, underwater. One drop, one line, one can at a time. I can see it. I can do it. Possibility. And you can too. I bet if you take a few moments, think, center yourself, and let God speak through you, you will create beauty. And don't do like I used to do and hold it for yourself. Share it with the world so that someone else might be encouraged to speak their truth and to live their life poetically and beautifully. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for the opportunity to be together. I hope we get to see each other soon. Stay well, stay safe, stay blessed. Keep praying, keep writing. God bless you.
Hi guys, I'm Miss Kat. I worked on program staff for about 5 years, and then after that I volunteer with Sailing Camp. So today I'm gonna touch a little bit more on what Pastor Wanda was talking about in regards to poetry as a form of prayer. I tend to use my poetry to organize my thoughts more. Sometimes if I'm out and about and I hear someone say something, it will spark an idea in my head and I'll pull out my phone and just write down a line or two. But I'm going to read you a poem that I wrote as a part of Pastor Wanda's challenge. So I write my poetry in a notebook after I get it all organized on my phone. And this is the notebook that I have right now. It's leather. So this is my poetry. The title is Normal. What even is normal? Honestly, think of a definition. It sounds quite boring to me. I would much rather be extraordinary, passionate, eclectic. How terrible it must feel to want to be just like everyone else. So my poetry is a little bit different. It doesn't usually rhyme. It, usually isn't very long, but it speaks to me, and I feel like by sharing it, it could speak to other people as well. So sometimes poetry is a form of prayer, speaking to God, and sometimes poetry can be used to speak kind of as the Holy Spirit through you to other people. So my challenge to you is, take some time for yourself, try and write some poetry either for God or just for yourself as, a form of clearing your mind and getting your thoughts all down on paper. And I hope to hear some of your guys' poetry soon.